We live today. Somebody had to say it. We live from Firebrand Studios. I'm your host, Albie, and your co-host, Benzino. What up, Zeno?
I'm good. Everything good.
Yeah, all right. So I know you and Irv Gotti had a relationship. So first I want to say rest in peace to Irv Gotti.
Right.
You know, a big rest in peace to Irv Gotti. But could you tell me a story about Irv? A good one.
Well, I mean, Irv, Irv just, it ain't necessarily a story. It's like, from what I remember from Irv, me dealing with him, Irv was really serious about his music. Some of the first times of me seeing him was in the Def Jam office when he was working on the album with Ja DMX and Jay. It never came out, but he was working hard. The Murderers album, the Killers album, I think. I forgot the name of it, but it was going to be an album with all three of them, and he was working hard to get that album out. Like, he really took pride for that album to come out. And, for me, being around Murder Inc., around, the time, in that early 2000s era, it was, they was on top. So I got to see Gotti work hand in hand with different producers, and he's really a visionary type of producer. He knows exactly what he wants. Very talented, very serious about the art of making music. Yeah.
All right. So our first topic of the day is sometimes I can be a little toxic.
Right.
Brought to you by Live Hip Hop Daily. So toxic. I guess we're gonna start with 50 Cent and just his response to Irv Gotti after passing. What's your thoughts on it? What's your takes on that?
Well, I mean, that's out of taste, of course. I'm not surprised. I don't think nobody is, by the way 50 does things. that's how he does things. But it's, it's disrespectful, you know what I'm saying? But they've been having their ongoing beef, and I guess he still, even, I guess he feels there's no code in it. If they got beef, then all gloves are off. So he's still taking the shots, and it's definitely out of taste. I don't do it like that. And the guys that I'm around, they never did it like that. So it is what it is. They've been beefing a long time, and stuff like that catches up with you.
Do you think this is going to catch up with him and have an effect on his career?
I mean, eventually, one thing you can count on, you make enough enemies, eventually you're gonna meet your maker. You know what I'm saying? There's only so much bad energy you can have with people. You know what I'm saying? It's just all energy. It's bad energy. So if you have all this bad energy with a lot of people, then eventually you're gonna be overwhelmed by it. It's never good to just cause problems and make enemies. I even understand in this internet time we call it trolling, but it really is disrespect. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, it doesn't progress the culture. It doesn't progress the music part of the culture. It might be funny for the people who comment, but that has nothing to do with the music. I think what people don't realize is that social media has nothing to do with the music. Social media is actually taken away from the music. People worry about comments and opinions of the fans more than they do the music and of the artists. And that's ruining the business of music. It's ruining the creativity of music. It's ruining the fanship of music on what music used to be. Music was an escape where you could just listen to it and fall back, and you didn't really know about the artist personally, but a little few things of what you might have read or something, but you surely wasn't so enthralled in their life, in their daily living and what they do, and it's for you to make up and criticize and judge and critique. So I think it's done more harm than it has helped.
All right. So this is Somebody Had to Say It, and we are on the subject of maybe I'm a little toxic, brought to you by Live Hip Hop Daily. And we just talked about 50 Cent. 50 Cent is also in the media. For someone I've seen you spend some time with, BMF Meech. What do you think about, him going at Meech like that and they're working together on a project? How do you feel about that? Is he right? Is he wrong?
Well, I mean, just to keep it in a mature perspective, this is a small industry. And in order for this to work for you as an artist or as an executive, you have to be able to work with other artists and other executives. And in order to do that, you have to keep good relationships with people. Great relationships in this business really determines a lot. And it determines a lot on your success. You know, the more relationships you have in this business with good people, the better. Because one way or another, you know, people are going to help each other and use each other in a certain way. You don't have to even be friends, but you want to keep a business relationship. And that's in all businesses. With 50, he feels that if he doesn't like somebody and he's doing business with you, then you're not supposed to be doing business with them either. And that is the most silliest shit I've probably heard in a long time. It's the most silliest, wackest, immature shit I've heard in a long time for a grown man at 50 years old to be talking about, you know. If you're running around making enemies with everybody, and if I'm working with you, so now I have to be enemies with everybody. Now, only Uncle Murder and Tony Yayo do that shit. Nobody else is going to fall for that because that's not how you do good business. Because let's say that, God forbid, something happens. Not even God forbid. Let's say something happens to 50. Well, then Tony Yayo and Uncle Murder are finished. It's over for them then. Because all the beefs that 50 started, now ain't nobody going to deal with them in the business world, and that's going to be it for them. And beefs that they ain't even had nothing to do with, just shit that he did, is going to affect them. So why me as an artist or as somebody who wants to do business with him want to be involved with that? Look at Omari, look at Lil Meech, everybody that's went, we're talking actors, this ain't even rappers, we're talking actors. He's having problems with Omari, he's having problems with Lil Meech, he's having problems with Meech. These are guys that are on that have to do with his TV situations, and he's using the same type of tactics that he does with rappers with the actors that he used, and even executives over at Stars, he does the same shit. And eventually, it's catching up to him now. I'm sure it is. It's going to affect his money and his business.
So, how would you have handled that situation?
How would I handle it? There's nothing to handle. If I'm doing business with you, as long as we doing our business, you can go take a picture and do business whatever the fuck you want to do. Yes, you a grown ass man. What the fuck does that got to do with me? If I'm running around making enemies with everybody, I mean, goddamn, I mean, it's, you know what I'm saying? Who's going to be left out there for you to do business that I'm not going to be mad about? So it's like, I can't get mad at that. The music industry of successful people is a small circle. And it's better to deal with everybody. That's how Atlanta blew up, was because everyone put their ego aside and they dealt with everybody, and everybody was cordial with everybody, and everybody was cool with everybody and wanted to support. That made the whole Atlanta blow. But, 50 has caused so much problems up there. New York wonders why they haven't really recovered, is because of all the beef that he brought when he came out. And all the division and all the problems. You know what I'm saying? So, I think I get more disappointed at the audience that praises him and, eggs him on and instigates. And, you know what I'm saying? It's like, that's why to me social media is fucked up, because you get to see the low-hanging fruit in their opinions and what they say, and it's just disappointing watching this shit take place. Like, a lot of this shit is just crazy. It doesn't help us. It doesn't help anybody. They don't have nothing to lose, because a lot of them people that are on the internet commenting have no fucking talent. They, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, fuck it, they can ruin shit because they ain't got nothing to lose from it. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, when do we draw the line? When do we say, look, this isn't helping us? Can we just, minimize all the bullshit and get money? Mm-hmm. The hoods are fucked up enough as it is. Why are we fucking up money over bullshit?
So, being that we are on the subject of, sometimes I can be a little toxic. I seen a post recently by comedian Tasha K, I want to say.
Right.
And it had you in it, and it had...
listen... That's all that shit's ridiculous, man. I don't,
Oh, so you seen the post?
We don't deal with that type of gossip shit, and
okay.
You know what I'm saying, with who's sleeping with who and all that, man. That's, again, we're adults, man. That's like, that don't, you know what I'm saying. I don't pay attention to that. You know what I'm saying. Tasha K does her thing in the way she does her thing, and God bless her. But I don't get involved with the he say, she say shit.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We're gonna keep it moving on. The next title is The God's Honest Truth. Just recently, we got a new president, Donald Trump. He's back in office.
Right.
What's your thoughts of Mr. Trump being back in office and be a president?
I mean, Trump, man, listen, any president, it's not even too much thoughts, Reagan, Bush, both Bushes, Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, Obama, the hood's still the same. Niggas are still doing the same shit. Niggas are still in the hood. Ain't nothing changed. Democrat this, that, Trump, whoop, hop, Kamala, it don't fucking matter. Niggas still gotta get out there and hustle and get it the way they get it. And it's been like that from day one. It doesn't really affect me. I'm not gonna keep looking at all the rhetoric, that's what they call rhetoric on all these news stations and have it make me feel, or get me anxious or have me think about it. So I gotta get out here and worry about how I'm gonna get money and how I'm gonna maneuver within any systems that's put in place. Republican, Democrat, Independent, it doesn't fucking matter. I've never voted yet because at the end of the day, nothing changes in the hood. You know what I'm saying? You know, unless I know somebody's gonna do some real changes that we can really see and feel and experience, I don't give a fuck who's in office. Benzino still gotta do what he gotta do. It's not too much difference on how I live. Now I know people might say, oh, people want to argue and want to argue and be mad about something. So it's something that the Democrats and Republicans can go back and forth. But as a black man that grew up in the hood, there hasn't been too much change. So that shows me that whoever's up in that motherfucker ain't doing what they're supposed to do. So why should I waste my time and worry about it when over all these years that I've experienced, everything is pretty much the same. Niggas got the short end of the stick.
Gotcha. So we're gonna keep it moving. Not so serious is the next topic. We look at all these planes crashing. Is that something going on special? Or is it just?
I mean, it's just a coincidence.
Just a coincidence?
It's, you know what I'm saying?
Because it was just another one the other day.
A Black Hawk, that was an accident.
In Alaska.
And then another one, a wing. Yeah. I mean, and you know, the small ones, I mean, it's still the most safest form of transportation.
All right.
Cars crash every minute of the day. There's a car crashing right now. So, you know, until, to me, again, this, with social media, it'll blow things out of proportion. Social media, there's old saying like, who controls people's fear controls their soul. You know what I'm saying? And, you're not going to control my fear. I'm not going to, because of what the internet and the posts and the headlines say, control how the fuck. I've been on planes yesterday, the day before, and I'm going to get on one tomorrow. I get on there, drink my eat my snack, drink my Coke, take my nap. If I don't, I'm looking at, the news, and that's it. Thanks. I was just on the flight, Spirit Airlines. Took off on time, landed on time, smooth flight, here I am.
You're a bad man trusting Spirit. I am not trusting Spirit.
Spirit hasn't even had any. Spirit's planes are dope, actually. Yeah, their new planes are dope. And
up their game.
Yeah, and they haven't had there's been no problems with Spirit yet since they've been in business. About them crashing, running into a plane, wing catching on fire, nothing. I mean, the shit with the luggage and certain shit, I think now has been straightened out. They don't even complain when you bring a big bag on now. They don't even try to charge you. So, Spirit ain't that bad. Right. Now, Frontier's another fucking story. Frontier, boy, man. But you know what? Them prices be $50, $60, $70 compared to $300, you know what I mean? So, shit, you got to do what you got to do.
All right. So this next section is brought to you by Whatever Works, and it's lesson from an OG. So you being an OG, you kind of, seasoned in the game from the street to hip hop, and you kind of, when I think of hip hop, one of the most famous source magazines I could think of is Behind Bars. Mm-hmm. So we got Lucci and we got Young Thug, both home from prison. What advice would you give both of them young men?
Oh, well, I mean, be careful who you keep around you, Be careful who you keep around you, because really, it's the company you keep that can really get you into a situation you don't want to be in, especially because you're on papers and you're being watched, and then you have to follow the terms of your probation. With them, it's, I'm not sure if it's going to affect their music on what they're going to rap about, But to me, I think when you look at Tupac and how Pac got to be as big as he did was because he talked about social issues within his gangster rap. I think if Thug and them kind of started go in that direction in their own way, the way they would rap it and do it, of course, I think that might help them. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, being free is a beautiful thing, looking at the charges that they was looking at. So if there's any advice, just go, you know, be careful who the company you keep, and just make sure you know, handle the terms of your probation.
You said social issues. Could you name some social issues that you would touch on in today's environment?
I mean, you know, of course, these young kids out there killing each other. You know, these young girls having babies and without, you know, and not being ready. I think that's a major issue. Having children, really not being ready for it. Pac didn't have to get touch on this because the internet really wasn't popping, but just be careful of the misinformation that's just taken in from social media. You know, because there's a lot of misinformation and false information, and a lot of people are taking it in for it to be true. I think that's dangerous. You know what I'm saying? I mean, most of the things that Pac was talking about are still problems today. You know, most of the social issues he was talking about, gang violence, you know what I'm saying, pregnancy, you know, there's a lot of issues that are going on today. And a lot of social media related issues too. These kids need somebody some type of, that they look up to, that is in the trenches, that they look up to who's in the trenches, and they look up to them because they are in the trenches. If that person starts talking some social issue shit, then they're gonna listen to them. And that's why I think, you know, they have the ears, just turn it around. And I know a lot of times people think of songs being corny when they start talking about social issues, but Pac did it in a way that you really didn't feel that. You still felt the gangster rap in them without it being corny. And he's talking about social issues, Brenda have a baby, dear mama, you know what I'm saying? These are songs, you know, that deal with it, but they're so dope. You're not listening to them songs, taking them as that. You're just taking them as a street song. But you're sucking in all that information. You're listening, the message is getting into you, Pac's way. I think they could do the same thing because they got the streets. They got the attention of the streets.
Okay. So this section right here is lesson from an OG, but this is for another OG. What advice would you give to a Big Meech now that he's home from prison? What advice would you give him?
It's the same thing, you know, it's the same thing. It's nothing different. You know what I'm saying?
But he doesn't make music, so how would you?
Well, it's the same thing. You still got to be careful who you're around. You know, Meech was around a lot of guys. And, you know, when you're in the feds, it's who you're dealing with. They'll lock you up for just being affiliated with somebody who's a gang member that they think it is. You know, and but the thing with Meech, he can't get caught up with this internet shit either. Don't get, because, you know, I remember I was caught up. I'm not caught up no more. I've figured out that it's not, it just doesn't exist. It's not, the shit that's on the internet don't even exist. It's a whole different world out there, you know. And just pretty much, you know, keep us, you know, with Meech, there's so many people that love and admire him. You know what I'm saying? He just has to really, the same thing. The more good he does for the hood and the more socialness he does, that could take him to another level. You know what I'm saying? If he comes in and really, you know, gets involved with some issues to help these kids out here, then that could take him to the next level. You know, surely these guys can't get involved with criminal activity because they have a microscope on them. So, you know, while you're under that microscope, you want them seeing you do stuff good, which is good for you, And we need it right now. Man, we need leadership bad. Now, you know, not saying if they don't do that, you know what I'm saying, you can live your life any way you want, but to me, that would put them in a whole place where nobody's at right now.
So I know, you know, when you're just in the game, not necessarily the drugs, but the money can be addictive. The type of money you make.
Well, now it's the fame. It's not even the fucking drugs anymore.
So as far as him saying, okay, he may not see the type of money he's used to seeing. How does he move and navigate through that without jumping back in?
I mean, he's been gone 20 years. He knows them days are over. He went 20 years without having no money and spending money and partying. So whatever he was feeling before he got locked up, 20 years went by. So that emotion's gone. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure he understands now he has to come out. And there's so much attention with merchandise and movies and content and everything, that's a whole bag in itself. He has to focus on that.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that concludes my questions. Anything you want to talk about that's going on in today's news or today's media?
No, man, shit, man. Just, you know what I'm saying? You know, I'm here and, you know, my thing is, man, it's like with so much, again, it's the internet. You just really got to be careful on who you're listening to and who you're hyping up and who you're supporting. Because, you know, ultimately you support the wrong person, then that you're doing just as much damage as the person who's doing it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are just being supported just because, you know, I notice we want to be entertained all the time, 24 hours, we want to be entertained. But, man, we got to start. Entertainment's good, but we got to start tackling some of these issues that's hurting the culture and hurting our people.
Mm-hmm. So I guess my question to that would be, what, I guess you're talking more like about podcasts and people out here talking. What podcasts would you say we need to stay away from? And what podcasts would you say we probably need to listen to more?
I don't, you know what, it isn't, you know what I mean? Because everyone's going to, I wouldn't do that. I'm just saying, just, you know, just understand, you know, because everybody likes different stuff. It all depends on what you like and the type of information you like, you know. Mm-hmm. I think hip hop is more conversation than there is music right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's about podcasts. So at least you want to, it's good to laugh and it's good to, you know, that's all dope. We all want to do that. And it's beautiful to do that. But it's good like when you can actually help the culture, learn something or make something better within the culture, make us better. Because we have a lot of shit that's broken about us within our culture. And, you know, our leadership and the way we look at leaders now is different from back then. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we got to, you know, is there any guidance? Is there any leadership? I mean, are we all on one accord when it comes to the progression of black people and the progression of hip hop culture? You know, these are all kind of deep questions, man. You know what I'm saying? And I know people would rather worry about who's fucking who or who's fighting who, but you know what I'm saying? We have to keep a balance too of, you know what I'm saying, these things that, because the future's coming. The future is coming. And it's like, are we going to leave it in chaos for our kids to inherit? Or are we going to, you know, before we go out, are we going to try to make some type of difference? Like a Malcolm, like a Martin, like a, you know, like these great men, you know? Mm-hmm. Or are we just going to keep just shucking and jiving all the way through, just getting money, fucking, and just, you know what I'm saying, posting quotes and just watching your ass cheeks clap? I mean, you know what I'm saying? What are we going to do to really try to get our people in a place of power and financial stability on a large scale?
So I actually found myself in that position where I was like, man, I was in here watching these YouTube clips for an hour and a half, just looking at different clips. Mm-hmm. That was nothing but probably the most entertaining thing that's not doing anything for me. Mm-hmm. So I actually made a deal with myself when I said, if I watch 2 clips, the next 2 clips I have to watch have to be about something that I'm trying to do, whether I'm trying to go get a transportation company. Mm-hmm. Let me look up some trucks and see what trucks I need to be, trying to purchase. Whether I'm trying to start a new business over here, let me look into that sector. Whether I need to buy some stocks, let me see what's going on with the market over here. So I've learned to make sure I challenge myself if I am watching clips on YouTube, that I make sure I spend just as much time doing research and things that's going to grow me from a business stance that I am doing on entertaining myself. Because you can go down that rabbit hole and next thing you know, you 2 hours in and you really didn't get nothing but a bunch of gossip. So I totally agree with you when you say, we need to be spending more time doing things online and social network that actually, streaming services that actually gives us something back that we can give to our people.
Yeah.
So
like I said, it's a balance. We don't, we want to be, of course, entertainment's good and having a good time is good and laughing is good and you know what I'm saying? But man, you know what I'm saying? We can't sit around and act like our shit is right, because it's not. It's with this social media brought chaos, and since it's still kind of new, this chaos is new, and we have to figure out before it gets out of hand. It's already getting out of hand. We have to figure it out before it really is our demise. We got to weed out the bullshit. There's a lot of bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, thank you, man. Well, I
Sure.
appreciate y'all for tuning in. Somebody
back,
had to
baby.
say it with your host
Yep.
Benzino
Yes,
and
sir.
yourself, Albie Cheddar.
Come on, let's
man.
do it. Let's do it, man. For real. Let's, you know what I mean? Let's keep it going.
All right, let's keep it going, man.
Yep.
All right,
All
yes,
right.
sir.